Hey gang, it's JC and this is your Daily Dose for Wednesday, September 29th, 2010, a cooperative venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. You can get us on your mobile phone right now. No app needed or anything like that. Just go to jc'sdailydose.com. It'll pop up. Archives, top of the page. Eye candy archives right below what you're looking at right now. Dave's weather forecast and the audio of the Daily Dose on iTunes as we roll on with our 15-month paid vacation. Come back on Friday. I'm pretty sure Friday's the day we're going to be giving away these 7-Eleven mugs. 52, it's as big as my head, folks. 52 ounces of stuff you can get in here. All sorts of stuff in the extreme gulp. So Friday, come on back. We'll try to give you a couple of those, all right? All right, Alice Cooper has been nominated for induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I have very mixed emotions about this. You know, Alice has been sitting on the sidelines for a long time, and he belonged in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame a long time ago. By the same token, the entire induction ceremony, the whole thing, the panel that suggests and nominates acts, it's the biggest joke in show business. The final cut will be on December 26th, induction ceremony March 14th in New York. Bon Jovi also nominated along with Neil Diamond, the Beastie Boys, and LL Cool J. In the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Beastie Boys and LL Cool J. Also Donovan, Tom Waits, Dr. John, Jay Giles, Darlene Love, Laura Nero, Donna Summer, and Joe Tex. I gotcha! You thought I didn't see you now, did you? And Mustang Sally, yeah. But, I mean, the whole thing has turned into a joke. Carole King has been waiting since her nomination in 1984 for somebody to say, yeah, you belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Carole King, Cars, Cat Stevens, Chicago, Deep Purple, nominated in 1993, just sitting there waiting. No Dire Straits. Yeah, why would Dire Straits be in? ELO, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Sure, why would Emerson, Lake and Palmer be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? They don't belong. Get the Beastie Boys and LL Cool J in there. I swear to God, this topic raises my blood pressure 60 points. Kiss, Heart. No Heart in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Joe Cocker, John Fogerty. The Moody Blues got nominated in 1989. They're still waiting for somebody to say, oh yeah, you're good enough. Phil Collins, Rush. Steve Winwood, Spencer Davis, Traffic, solo albums, collaborative work with Eric Clapton and other people. Why would Steve Winwood be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Three Dog Night, Todd Rundgren. The whole topic makes me sick. All right, you want to know what your friends and family and neighbors and boss and stuff like that are up to politically when it comes down to it? Because if somebody's donating money to a political party, you got a pretty good idea that they are in cahoots with them. Well, there's a new website called Fundrace, Fundrace. Actually, it's part of the Huffington Post. And you can actually type in names of your friends, and they will try to find out whether or not they donated to a political party. Just another way of our privacy being compromised. Sarah Palin, Dancing with the Stars, sitting there in the audience. And by the way, would anybody care about Bristol Palin if she was not the daughter of a potential vice presidential, well, she was a vice presidential candidate, potential presidential candidate, because if she didn't have resources like that and her mother wasn't hauling down $150,000 plus for speeches, and then Bristol Palin comes along and says, well, I'll do speeches too for $30,000. Really, what are you going to talk about? Where to buy condoms? Because, if she wasn't the daughter of this prominent politician and Fox commentator, given her situation, she'd probably be living in a trailer on the outskirts of Wasilla. But instead, no, she's actually, what is she, a role model? Because she got knocked up? Because she's a semen receptacle at age 19? Because she was banging her boyfriend in her mother's house? Man, oh man, this whole thing makes me puke. So she'd be your typical average pregnant teenager living in a trailer park. But, she's on Dancing with the Stars and Sarah Palin showed up. Sarah says it was nice to see her daughter be that close to a guy and not get pregnant. There's a new company called Fiberglass Freaks. If you have $150,000 laying around and you are DC Comics, Marvel, I don't know this stuff. This is Carl's territory. Anyhow, you can buy yourself an exact replica of the of the 1966 Batmobile for the man who has everything, right? The thing is street legal, by the way. There's a couple of caveats here. They're only making 6 of these things a year, and as we said, $150,000. This is the most fascinating story of the week, as far as I'm concerned, because you have like 70 entertainment channels. You got people running around, sniffing around all over the TV and movie lots, and you can't do anything without somebody knowing what you're up to. The Big Bang Theory, this is a TV show I do not watch, but I do know who Kelly Cuoco is. She's a semi-cute, if she's got the right hair and makeup. And if she's not, like if you saw her when she got out of bed in the morning, I'm not sure this would be very pretty. But when she's all dolled up, she's cute. And by the way, she's funny on the show. I haven't seen enough of it to know. And Johnny Galecki, well, it turns out they were banging privates there for about 2 years, and nobody knew anything about it. This is like a top 10 show. And you get 2 major stars, and they're playing house, and nobody knows anything about it. The relationship was 2 years long. It ended late last year. I can't tell you how rare that is in today's show business climate. Tosh.0, Comedy Central. I have told you how good this show is. If you have not discovered Tosh.0 on Comedy Central, then you are really missing something. This is the most, there's a lot of stuff in entertainment that pops up where you go, well, that's pretty weird. That's really different. But it's not entertaining. Well, Tosh.0 is both unique and entertaining, and that's very, very rare also in this business. 2nd season finale on Comedy Central tonight. All right, when states ban people from texting while driving, it actually leads to more text-related accidents. In 3 out of 4 states with text bans, texting-related accidents went up. They think, well, they have a theory. They think that what people do, instead of like texting, holding it right up as they're driving, they don't want to be caught by the police, so they hold it down lower. And if you hold it down lower, that's less time looking at what you're supposed to be looking at, so you get more crashes, you have more accidents. I had a birthday last week, as did my lovely little Francesca, had her first birthday. I'm just guessing that my birthday was better than Jeffrey Jones, who played Mr. Rooney, the principal in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He spent the day in court last week on his 64th birthday. Could have been locked up for 3 years. You see, in 2003, he had this little problem where he hired a 14-year-old boy to pose for pornographic photos and videos, and so he's a registered sex offender now. He could have got 3 years. Well, let's see, he could have gotten locked up for 3 years. He got 3 years probation, 250 hours of community service. He shows up and it's like, Mr. Rooney. He's very popular, Ed. All right, I want to talk a little bit about the 10th inning, the Ken Burns baseball special, which began last night on public broadcasting, Channel 9 here in St. Louis, the Ken Burns thing. And Ken Burns has done wonderful stuff about music and about Major League Baseball, the 9-inning special from back in the mid-1990s. Did the Civil War thing, which was very good. I didn't see enough of that to really comment on it, but I know from people who I trust that it was very, very well done. So you got the 10th inning right now, which picks up where the last one that he did back in the 90s left off. Just a great analysis of the 1994 strike and the lessons learned from the strike. Things I did not know about Cal Ripken, about things that he did to sort of repair Major League Baseball after the strike, both on and off the field. A great profile of Joe Torre. There's nothing more annoying in baseball than the New York Yankees, but I have to say that this thing about the Yankees' run back in the 1990s under Joe Torre was very, very interesting. I learned stuff about Joe Torre I didn't know, and interesting stuff too. And a great profile about the influence of Latin players on Major League Baseball. But the thing I want to focus on now is the McGwire-Sosa home run chase from back in 1998. You had the strike over for a couple of years. A lot of people still refused to go to baseball games or watch baseball. You had the Bill Clinton scandal going on. The country was sort of in need of a little pick-me-up, and it came in the package of, and I say package because it was McGwire and Sosa. And in 1998, it's one thing for this to be happening in history and in baseball. It's another thing for it to be happening on our doorstep. And I felt incredibly privileged at that time to have been that close to what was going on. We were in the thick of it. And I kept telling people, you're not just seeing baseball history play out here, you're seeing American history being played out here. we followed the whole thing to Milwaukee and did some shows right there at County Stadium in Milwaukee in the thick of the home run chase in September of 1998. I still remember when Mark McGwire hit that center field home run at Busch Stadium that went like off the railing where the Post-Dispatch had an ad out there, or something like, like 575 feet. I could look it up. I can't remember the numbers. But I was with Dick Clark that night because he was in town, and Dick Clark, not a huge sports fan, but he really, people who weren't even sports fans were tapping into that and wanted to be part of the whole thing. Now, for home run number 61, you might remember that was the one off the glass of the Stadium Club, and I missed catching that ball by 14 feet. Because I was in the front row on the aisle closest to the foul pole in the Stadium Club, in the Big Mac land. And I measured it, and it was about 14 feet. 14 feet more towards center field than I would have had a chance of catching that ball. So the next day, when McGwire hit number 62, I was sitting with members of the St. Louis Blues. I was sitting next to Chris Pronger, and Al McInnes was there, and a bunch of Blues executives and stuff like that. And we were in the Stadium Club. So when McGwire hit number 62, that ball went right underneath us. It went right below us. We didn't even really know what happened until we saw the crowd react, because the ball disappeared right below us, and we were trying to find out what would happen. I went back to the press room after the game and got the second question of Mark McGwire that night, because as you'll recall, he ran right over the top of first base because he didn't know what happened to the ball either. He's running and looking, and he went right over the top of first baseman. Finally, Dave McKay was like, no. And you heard Joe Buck, touch first, Mark. You are the new home run king. So it was quite a night. I have to tell you about 67 and 68. I was doing a personal appearance in North County that afternoon. The ball game had already started. And I was like, as soon as it was over, I just flew straight to the ballpark. And I go up to the press box, and I'm standing there and watching the game. All the seats were taken. I had to stand. So I'm standing there, and at just some point I look over to my right, and standing about 10 feet away from me is Bruce Springsteen and his 10-year-old son. Well, the first thing I do is I get my microphone out, and I approach him very sort of gingerly. And I'm like, hey, Bruce, I do a radio show here. Would you want to say something? You would say hi to your fan? He was like, oh, no, man, just here with my son, It's like, yeah, I would have wanted to have some sort of physical record, either an interview or a comment or a picture or something like that. But I'm more proud of myself of the fact that I let Bruce Springsteen enjoy that moment with his son. They got in the car and were heading back to New Jersey or wherever they were living at the time. And they got halfway to the airport and turned around and decided to come back for the next day, which of course was home run number 69 and 70. And again, there's still a lot of people, and I'm among them, still really furious with Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and everybody who had a hand in this, because you still feel duped. And Mark McGwire has still not come clean. Yeah, I took the steroids, but it didn't help me hit the home runs. Mark, the whole thing was a lie. And I was as sucked into it and excited about it and feeding off of it as much as anybody. But it was, it would be like having the most intense summer romance of your life. And then at the end of the summer, she tells you, or he tells you, as the case may be, that, they're married and they're going back to their family 1,000 miles away, and you just stand there feeling as though somebody had been playing with you for 6 months. And that's sort of the feeling that a lot of us still have. One of the other things that you find out in this Ken Burns special, and part 2 is tonight on Channel 9, how messed up Barry Bonds is as a person. He is a screwed up dude. And George Will, this is the guy that said Field of Dreams was not a baseball movie. Can do without him. Sosa turned into a worldwide celebrity. Mark McGwire turned into a big grouch. I don't know, maybe it was tough living the lie. By the way, if you missed it last night, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know if they're planning to rerun any of these shows, but if they do, we will try to let you know about that. All right, JC's Video Village this week, Andy Rooney. I interviewed him when he was only 74. That was back in 1993. The Wayback Machine is the announcement that I was going to work at KMOX, as told by John Pertzborn on Channel 5. Our old school photo, back to Milwaukee in 1980. JC's Eye Candy. The Australian Top Model had the TV show had a major screw-up last night. That's what happens when Rupert Murdoch hires his daughter-in-law. She screwed up, gave the wrong winner. Tomorrow, are you normal? Everything from nose picking to are you still in love with your ex? I'll explain that tomorrow. In the meantime, that's it. JC's Daily Dose for Wednesday, September 29th, 2010, a cooperative venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. In the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.